They made it like this incredible mansion. Does anybody in the audience want to live in that mansion? But if anybody thinks that Pakistan, that the government didn't know that he was there, they're foolish, okay? They're very foolish. So they're not really our friend, and they're not really our enemy. But now I say differently, and I think this is very important, because the bad guys could take over Pakistan very easily, very quickly. It could happen very quickly. We wouldn't even know what's going on. They have nuclear weapons. They desperately need our money. We don't give them any money unless they get rid of their nuclear weapons. Now, to me, that's so simple. So I hope it does get picked up by some of the other people. But for us to be giving them money, they go out and, by the way, they take our money, they use it for nuclear. They also use it for themselves, by the way, I guarantee you that. But they go out and they use that money for nuclear weapons. And you know what? Let's say right now they're semi-friendly, but they may not be at all friendly. They may be tremendously against us, including Israel. Because if that happens, Israel's in big, big trouble. They have serious nuclear weapons. But they seriously need our money. And that's a deal that I would make, and I wouldn't veer from it, because you cannot let them have those nuclear weapons. Another one I gave that some people did pick up, and some people love it, and some people think, oh, but it's a sovereign nation. Iraq. If we go into Iraq, we've spent $1.5 trillion. We've lost thousands of great young men and women. We have tens of thousands of people that are incredible people that are horribly wounded with legs and arms missing and just horribly wounded all over the cities, all over the cities. I see it in New York, I see it all over. And we go in, we fight, and we leave. Somebody said, oh, democracy. Give me a break. As soon as we leave, Iran is going to take over Iraq. We've decapitated their armies. It's going to happen. They're already planning it. I've heard that they're closer to the leaders of Iraq than we are, okay? Than our people are. And I'm not surprised to hear it. Iran is very cunning and very smart. So they say they've been fighting for years and years. You know, for years they were about equal. They move 2 feet, they move back 2 feet, the war's over, they go back. For 20 more years they don't fight, right? And they fight again. But now what we've done is we've decapitated one of those countries. So Iran will go in, but here's what they're going to go in for. Sure, they want the country, sort of. What they really want is the oil. You know that Iraq has the second largest oil reserves in the world. $15 trillion. Interestingly, Mayor, that's very close to our deficit, right? Isn't that interesting? Amazing number. So I've said to people, what is this? You know, maybe I'm old-fashioned. I say, we're in there. And I have friends, and they're really good people, and they're smart people, and there's some of them are very liberal, some are conservative, but a lot of them say, Donald, are you suggesting we take the oil? That's a sovereign nation. I say, excuse me? And it's amazing. Now, some people love it. I always say they're the smart ones. Because when we went into Iraq, if you remember, when we went into Iraq, a lot of the so-called smart ones were saying, oh, don't worry about it, we only went in for the oil. We didn't. We weren't smart. We didn't know what we were doing. We went in what? For what? He didn't knock down the World Trade Center. In all fairness, you like Saddam Hussein, you don't like Saddam, it doesn't make any difference. He did not knock down the World Trade Center. It had nothing to do with it. And frankly, what he did do is kill terrorists. You could not be a terrorist in Iraq. He would kill you. No trials, no nothing. He would kill you if you were a terrorist. Now, Iraq is the Harvard of terrorism. You want to be a terrorist, you go to Iraq. Everybody says that. You want to be a terrorist, Iraq is great. Afghanistan's pretty good too. Right below. And I'm saying, what are we doing? So we've got our army over there. Then somebody said, oh, we don't want to stay longer. You know the kind of money we're talking about? So they have $15 trillion worth of oil. We've spent $1.5 trillion. I say this. At a minimum, we get our money back. And we pay each one of the families of those soldiers that died $2 million. And we give our badly wounded and our wounded a lot of money. It's peanuts. You're talking about peanuts compared to what the numbers are in this incredible oil reserve. Incredible. And we pay those families back. Now people say to me, you can't do that because of the sovereignty of the nation. But let me ask you this. When the families of those fallen soldiers are sitting home watching television in a couple of years from now, after we're gone, because they're not going to go when we're there, but you know, we have an appetite to get out. Then we're never going to go back because we don't have that stomach. When the families of those great soldiers are sitting home a couple of years from now, when Iran goes in and takes over Iraq and takes over the oil and tells everybody how stupid the United States is, which is absolutely going to happen, and they'd be right. How do you think the parents of that 22-year-old soldier, how do you think the parents are going to feel about that? Because those soldiers will have died in vain. And again, all of the wounded, all of the money. What a terrible, terrible situation. Now, just like I said, because I've made a lot of good predictions. You know, I had a book, and I made a lot of predictions in the book, and a lot of them came true. I said terrorism is going to happen. I said you're going to have a market crash. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm a great psychic, but I have a good instinct for things. And I think most good business people do. That's why. You know, we're a little bit ahead of the curve in a lot of ways, but I have an instinct for things. And I said terrorism is going to be a big factor. And people sort of didn't know too much about what terrorism was then. Because that was 10 or 11 years ago. I said, we're going to have a great crash. And we really did have a great crash. That was a great crash. And we could have a second great crash. If gasoline doesn't go down substantially, we've got to have a second crash. If oil stays at over $100, which I think it's going to for a while, and it could go a lot higher, we could have a real problem. And we could have a real second dip, as they call it. So, I know how to deal with OPEC. I know how to deal with China. By the way, I had some of the smartest Chinese. I made a deal with them. I made a lot of money. I'm very proud of myself. I made a lot of money. And you gotta know how to deal with these people. They're smart, they're cunning, and they are not our friends. Remember that. They are not our friends at all. So I'm thinking about running. I must be honest, it's tough because I'm very anti-establishment. That even includes the Republicans. You know, like for instance, I told you I have great respect for Paul Ryan, but I would not have done it the way he did it. Too early, too soon, there was no reason for him to do it. Let the other guy lead it in. And then you go and do your number. And you get something that's going to make the country great again. But I'm very anti-establishment. And I see even the Republicans taking shots. What's to take a shot at? What really? Now there'll be people on television, they'll say bad things about me, but what really that I said today can people take a shot at? I want to take care of our fallen soldiers. I want to take care of our people. I want the oil. I want reimbursement to us. And by the way, to the other countries that helped us, like Britain and other countries. I want to take advantage of, I really want to take advantage of a situation where we're there. Once we leave, we can't. But when you think about it, what's controversial? So, I go back, and I'm a Republican, and I'm doing this. You know, I haven't done anything, in all fairness. I haven't even announced whether or not I'm running. And I think even the Republicans don't like it because I'm not in the club. I'm not in that club. You can't be in that club. And that club is not what's going to make us, in my opinion, a great country again. We have tremendous potential. Tremendous, unbelievable potential. If we had the right people, if we knew what we were doing. We cannot let China drain us. We cannot let OPEC drain us. We cannot let South Korea drain us. When I ordered the 4,000 televisions, I said, find an American company. I want to find an American company that makes them. We have the greatest people. Nobody could do it. They can't find a company. Yeah, they have little companies that made a couple of, I need 4,000 televisions. It's a lot of televisions. So we got LG from South Korea. And it's interesting, because you know, South Korea, we have thousands of soldiers in between North and South Korea. And you know what happened? We're all set to sign this agreement. And they said, no, 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 we don't want it. Now, Barron Trump, who's my 4-year-old son, would not have agreed to that agreement for the United States. That's how bad the agreement is. But South Korea, it wasn't good enough for them. So they embarrassed the president by not signing when they were supposed to. But a couple of days later, some bombs started getting lobbed over to South Korea by North Korea. And we send this magnificent aircraft carrier, the George Washington, like incredible, and 17 destroyers and boats and like an armada. Boom, just to turn on the engine.